Welcome back to another episode of Birds and Blue Sports. Joining me is Pete. Hopefully, we will be joined shortly by Ray, who is currently working at the moment. Say hi, Pete.
What's going on, everybody? I am not holding my breath for Raymond, but we'll hold out. We'll hold out hope.
Yeah, we're hoping to get Raymond. We'll see what happens. He is working. He is a firefighter. Shit happens.
Living life.
Um, yeah. Zach will not be joining us. Jason will not be joining us due to prior engagements. Uh, all right, so some news and notes. We'll just get right into it in the NFL. Roger Goodell signed an extension through 2027 today. He will be the commissioner of the NFL for at least the short future, mid future. He's going to end up being commissioner for over 20 years. Your thoughts?
Man, that guy just sunk his hooks in, and it's been the Goodell show, right? I mean, not everybody is a fan of his. Borderline, but
I like
we'll
him.
we'll see for the foreseeable future how things progress. I mean, unless John Gruden goes scorched earth with his lawsuit to the NFL and
Hmm.
more emails don't come out. So we'll see about that.
Good point. I mean, it hasn't been all squeaky clean for Mr. Roger Goodell. He has grown on me a bit. I think that the NFL has been brought in the right direction. They're making more money now with him than they ever have. The whole 9 yards, international play, it has been expanded, you
Huge
know,
expansion. Huge
huge
expansion.
expansion. So I guess for the health of the league, this is a good thing. So I guess we shouldn't be too unhappy. But like you said, this guy hasn't been all squeaky clean, in my opinion. And if stuff
He,
comes out, it could hurt the league.
yeah, that whole Dan Snyder scenario down in DC, that's just like been like an ongoing can of worms that it's opened up, and there's no stopping it now. So we'll see what happens in the courts if big money Goodell can hire the right lawyers to keep it hush hush.
Yeah, no kidding. He's going to need them. But with his enormous salary, I think he can afford them. So there is that.
How much
Um,
does he make for being the
dude,
committee?
for the last contract, I'm pretty sure he made $84 million a year or something stupid.
Oh my,
Yeah,
that's no joke money. Meanwhile, running backs can't get paid 15 million a year.
yeah, they get the minimum, and this dude's just raking it in. Uh, I don't know. Maybe commissioner of the NFL is a better job than running back in the NFL. I don't know.
Uh, I guess wow, 63.9 million.
Oh my God, 63.9 million. Is that the new contract or was that the old figure?
No, that was 2019 to 20 and 2020 to 21.
Okay. Yeah, I
Holy,
didn't see I didn't see what the new figure is. I'm assuming he didn't take a pay cut. So if anything, he's making more now.
that's astonishing money, right?
It's crazy money. Uh, Another note, the NFL owners unanimously voted to delay in-person head coaching interviews involving candidates employed by NFL teams until after divisional round of the playoffs has concluded. Is this a more fair aspect when it comes to coaching, or is this kind of small potatoes in your opinion?
I think it's kind of small potatoes. I think when you're coming off of a season and you're a team that's looking for a head coach, you kind of already have your guys in mind, as I feel like you normally would. You're going to interview who you want to interview, and I mean, I think that's just semantics at that point.
I tend to agree with that. I fully believe it's a relationship league. Guys know where they want to go, or at least they have an idea of where they would go. And then at that point, it's about relationships. And whether they're new or not, if start off on a good foot, you know what I
I
mean? That shit happens. But
I agree with that point too. It's relationship based because I kind of find it hard to believe that a team that's looking for a head coach and they're interviewing their candidates that they already have in mind. I find it hard to believe when they have it locked in on who they want there, that through just a random process of, oh, let's give Joe Schmo a shot at an interview, that they're going to go, oh man, wow, this is the guy. I already think 90% of teams have it in their head who they want to bring in my opinion.
Yeah, fully agree. Um, Last note that I have here, Julio Jones signed with the Eagles today at 34 years old, last played with the Bucks in 2022. Is this a panic move by the Eagles, or what the hell is going on here? Watkins, I know they put Quez Watkins or somebody like that on IR recently. Jason was saying in one of the group chats that he expected this move even before the Jet game. I don't know.
I mean, I did see the IR move with them, so it doesn't really shock me. Again, another relationship move. Julio goes back with AJ Brown from Tennessee days.
That's
And
right.
word on the street was that before AJ Brown got traded to the Eagles, that he wanted to go to ATL with
To go play with him.
yeah. So
Okay.
that's kind of what I read. So they also, I'm pretty sure, is it, I think Equinemius St. Brown, is he an Eagle? I feel like I saw that name brought up too, that they all had this previous relationship with each other that kind of makes sense. And Julio's looking for a ring. And what better place to look for a ring than the city of brotherly love? They just came off of a Super Bowl appearance. Offense kind of pretty flawless. Defense is strong. I mean, they walked into an L this past weekend, but up until this past weekend, they were undefeated. So
Yeah, we'll get into it more as we recap the games. I was just gonna point out, I don't, their offense hasn't been so great, but I understand that I think now it's more of a product of them losing coaches. So who was it? Gannon was there, and
Again,
what's his name from the Colts? Steichen.
yeah,
So losing Gannon and Steichen, I mean, those are two big pieces from their run last year. Who know? I mean, that might be playing a factor, but
I I think with Julio, he's going to the Eagles where they're not looking for him to be a one or even a two. Like,
right, he would be wide receiver three at best if
yeah,
he came in off the couch and was good, but we'll see. I mean, he hasn't played football in a little while. Um, Anything else to note for news around the league?
around the league, no, not to my.
Yeah, that's all I had. So let's get right into it with our week 6 recap. Thursday, the Broncos went into Arrowhead and kept it somewhat respectfully close, but the Chiefs won 19-8. I don't think that the outcome of that game, besides the score, was a surprise to either of us.
No, no. I mean, I thought it was going to be a much bigger blowout than it actually was. I mean, the score dictates that it was competitive, but I don't think it was really competitive as much as it was KC. They're kind of stuck in neutral, it feels like. Again, that offense is trying to find an identity minus outside of Travis Kelsey.
Right.
Travis Kelsey a monster game in this game. They looked at him early and often, and he was just making chunk plays. And Denver didn't have an answer for that. Denver Denver is very much in. I don't know if it's some sort of like power control between Peyton and Russie. They just doesn't gel. And I mean, Russell has looked pretty. His stats show that he's been pretty good, but it's more garbage stats.
Yeah,
And
I agree with that. I don't think he hasn't looked great. I think it's looked better, maybe slightly better just for him personally than last year. Not for the team though. I mean, Hackett had this team one more game up than they are now at this point through the season last year. Sean, there's been a lot of rumors, and the trading rumors have been heating up, especially with the Broncos. They have a list of guys who apparently they're looking to move on from that Sean doesn't want around anymore, and they also have a list of guys that they want to keep.
yeah,
So he's
and
already identified the guys that he wants to build around. I don't know.
yeah, Jerry Judy is on that list of guys that they want out of town. And
Yeah.
did you see the interaction with Steve Smith in pregame for that?
Yes, I did. He
Ooh.
basically
Oh,
he basically called them no good.
yeah.
I mean that's the nice way of saying it.
Yeah, he to be nice, he relegated him to mid at best.
Yeah. I mean, he was a highly touted prospect coming out of Alabama. And maybe you can say he's been ruined just by this offense and how fucking terrible things have been there.
That
But
and
I don't know, man.
he got didn't he tear his ACL?
Yeah, he tore his ACL his rookie year, I think. Um,
I
but
feel like
since
he had
coming back,
blocked
he,
since that.
he
So
he really hasn't done anything. Again, it could be a product of the Broncos offense, which just isn't any good. And partially him being overrated as a prospect.
yeah.
I mean, everybody out of Alabama, we think, automatically these guys are going to be a superstar, and it's just not the way it works.
Well, there's a lot
Next,
come out of there. So
yeah. Next up, we had the Ravens at the Titans. Titans kept this one a one score game, but the Ravens pulled it out 24-16. I didn't watch much of this one. I saw Lamar did make some plays in this game. Um, what are your 2 cents on this game?
I mean another 9:30 a.m. Game overseas. So
Oh, that's right.
that
This was a London game. How
was
dare I not mention that?
this was the last London game of the year.
Of the
Um,
year.
of the year, yeah. I'm pretty sure it's next week. They're off to Germany now,
Oh, that's right. Okay. I
taking the
forgot
tour
about
of
the
Europe.
Germany games.
But yeah, I mean, couple takeaways from this. Lamar just doing it on his feet. I mean, he's very athletic, and we talked about this for a few weeks now. The running trend is that he relies on his athleticism maybe a little too much and doesn't make the throws. But I watched him; he made some pretty good throws. And Zay Flowers, he is
He's
going
good.
to be a guy in this league. He has breakaway speed, but he runs very crisp routes. He he's going to be a guy that we're going to watch for quite some time. On
Yeah,
the Go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say I think he's the receiver they've been looking for this whole time. They finally nailed it. There's good. They should just keep building off of this. I mean, it sucks that Dobbins got hurt. Um, but Lamar is just still able to carry this team, the way that he has his whole career so far, and that kind of showed itself on Sunday morning in London.
Yeah, I think I mean with him with Zay Flowers, I mean he has OBJ there to kind of get his 2 cents, but I mean I watched OBJ on Sunday and he's got very little left in the tank, but I mean
Yeah,
I think a presence like that is good for a young receiver to to learn from.
Sure.
Uh, on the Tennessee Titans side of the ball, they are god awful. They are
And Derrick
very
Henry actually had a good game.
well. He only 12 carries.
Right.
12 carries, 97 yards, and the majority of that was on a huge, like 60-yard run.
Yeah.
So that, I mean, I think that 97 yards is it's more of a bloated stat than anything because he really didn't get much going.
Besides that one run, yeah, it wasn't
But
great.
I mean, that team in general, Tannehill looked awful. Then he got hurt. And then Malik Willis came in and he had every play, he had a defender in his face smashing him to the ground. So that team is just a nukem team.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised. I don't think Tannehill's playing this week.
I don't think so.
So I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we might see the rookie.
I mean, why not? At some point, they got to see what they have in him. I get the whole idea, of sitting a guy like that for a whole year. Just let him get comfortable in the building and get his routine down, learn the offense. This coaching staff isn't going anywhere. So that
Yeah,
part of it, I think, is good for him. He'll have some time, whether it's later this year or next year, to really learn and master the offense before he gets out there. I think I would probably rather play Willis right now just to see if he does show anything at all. And then if not, you could just move on from him. I mean,
I
this
mean,
year's kind of toast for them anyway, right now, I feel like.
after what I saw on Sunday, that was enough for me. I would let the rookie wet his feet and just exactly what you said. Your season's toast. So see what you got. Throw him
I'm
out.
sure Titans fans want to see what they have.
Get some reps.
Yeah. Next was started off as a really interesting game. The Panthers went to Miami and actually had a 14 to nothing lead in this game, but the Dolphins ended up scoring, oh goodness, I don't know, 34 unanswered points at some point, and they won 42-21 in a legit blowout. They're just that's a tough team to hold back, man, when you're not that talented. I feel like the Panthers got some early breaks in the game that kind of went their way, and then the Dolphins just overtook them because they're simply the better team. I don't have
Hand,
much more analysis than that.
hands down. I feel like McDaniels coming out of the tunnel to start the game was like, hey guys, new challenge. Give them 14 and see how quick we can come back. Guess what? They did it in the first half.
Yeah. Yeah, the
So,
game was won. The game was won by the end of the first half. It was really amazing how explosive they were.
yeah, they are. We talked about this when we were going over our notes beforehand. Tyreek Hill right now I saw this stat and I thought I was like, this can't be right. He is, I believe it's like 186 yards away from hitting 1,000. And we are entering week 7.
Week 7.
Week 7. That's
Tw-
unheard of statistic.
2,500 yards is attainable for him. If he does it, I think he'll win MVP.
He is torching defenses.
Yeah.
And shout out to the end zone Selly doing the backflip with
That was cool.
with the camera.
That was cool. We all got a kick out of that. We saw that in real time. I was like, all right, that
that's
obviously premeditated and he's getting fined and everything, but I liked it. I thought it was cool.
I I mean when you're doing video game stats like that,
You
you
can get
might
away with it.
that's fun stuff. And
Yeah.
we also talked about Raheem Mostert this guy is charged up. I mean, no Devon A Chain, no problem. They just get this guy the ball, and he's hungry. I think he's at like 11 touchdowns.
Yeah, huge weapon in the passing game. I think he has just as many receiving touchdowns as he does rushing touchdowns. I mean, he's just a weapon.
Yeah, he's
He's big, he's fast, he has great vision, he has great hands, he's very good in pass protection. He's just about everything that you would want your number one running back to be. And, you know, I know A Chain is out, but I just don't feel like they've lost anything. I really don't. I feel like just feed Mostert more until A Chain comes back, and then lean on A Chain more when he comes back. Right now, they're set up really well. They're set
yeah,
up to make a strong push to having a nice seed in the playoffs right now.
there's no pressure right now,
Mm.
and they're playing very calm, cool, collected football, and they're making it look easy, and they're making it look fun. Tua is having a very good year, and he's just carrying this over from last year because he looked great up until he got his brain scrambled. So healthy Tua in the Mike McDaniel's offense, that's that's a scary combination.
And he's also another legitimate MVP candidate, right? He's probably even more a legitimate MVP candidate right now than Tyreek Hill is, and that's crazy to say, but it's true
I
because they've just been humming in every facet of their offense. They're number one in passing, they're number one in rushing. I mean, your quarterback is the maestro. So, I mean, he has to be getting MVP consideration right now.
Listen, I in the beginning of the year, I had him as a top 10 quarterback, and I know I got a lot of dirty looks in this podcast, and I still stand by that. He's
No,
proven it.
that's good that you are. I will still stand by durability will be a factor for him at all times. And if he can make it through the year, I think it's going to be great if he can make it through the year. So we'll see. I mean, it's still kind of early. We haven't even played a whole half a season yet.
Hey,
So
man, we're,
I'm
we're
not
looking
listen, I'm not sitting over here hoping that anybody gets injured. I'm just saying I'm just going by what my eyes have seen in the past.
like another soulless redhead that
Oh
is not
God.
in the chat right now.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't have it in me to hope for guys to get hurt. I just want the teams that I like, the team that I like to play well. That's all I care about.
Yeah,
And the league to remain interesting so that we could keep doing this podcast. Next up we had the Saints traveling to Houston. The Texans, man, they're 3-3 at their bye right now. Nope, I don't think anybody saw this one coming. I'm gonna toot my horn a little bit. Okay, I love D'Amico Ryans. I thought it was a good hire. I think that's being vindicated already. Um, the
for
quarterback
sure.
they chose, he's obviously it. I mean, he's still playing great. I don't think he still did he throw his first pick over the weekend? I think he threw his
For,
first one, right?
for the first one, yep.
He threw his first one. Okay, that's fine. He's a rookie. This guy has thrown for fucking over 1,000 yards easily already. Got to be
Yep.
close to 1,500 yards. He's having a great year. The Texans are having a good year with what they have. Um, the Saints, I don't know. Maybe you could give me your insight on the Saints. I know they're one of your more interesting teams now that they have Mr. Carr.
Yeah, I mean, they Carr threw the ball 50 times in this game. So this was when you're throwing the ball 50 times and you're only putting up 13 points, that's a problem. And I
It's a
mean,
big problem.
he he threw one tud, one interception, so it wasn't like he was turning the ball over, but just I guess they weren't getting clicking, but Texans just playing well. And like you said, D'Amico Ryans brings that defensive mindset as a head coach, and he's got them bought in there. And boy, The Saints,
Well,
Houston, we had a problem.
you know what's so fascinating to me is most of these defensive coaches, when they go somewhere to be a head coach, their offense usually struggles big time. The defense, maybe it takes a year or two to get good, but no, they have this thing pretty much figured out from the get-go. I mean, that's really impressive to me.
Yeah, and I mean it's clear that CJ Stroud is their guy. As you said, he's at 1,600 yards already, 9 tuds, first interception week 6. So that's
That's good.
great number for if that was my rookie quarterback, I'd be more than thrilled about that. I think they need to get the running game going. I think Pierce has shown a drastic regression from last year. I don't know what it is, if he's playing through an injury or whatever the case may be. He's not clicking like he was last year. Um, Outside of that, though, they like we were saying that they play like they don't know they're supposed to lose, but I think they're a team that is playing to win,
Yeah.
not just happy to be here. Um, I think
Yeah.
on the side of the ball, I mean, a loss to the Texans at home isn't the end all be all. They're 3-3 as
No.
well.
Yeah. No, it definitely isn't. The Saints are still in a decent spot. I forget who they have this week. I think it's a divisional game, if I'm not mistaken. I think they're going to Tampa, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean they just have to stay afloat and see what they can put together at the end of the year. Hope Carr gets hot. Right now, it doesn't look great. I don't know what it's going to take. If it's going to take the running game to really, they got to find an identity on
Mhm.
offense. I feel like they don't have one. And Ray made a good point a few weeks back when he went to the Saints game. He was telling us to keep our eyes on Shaheed, and that guy actually does look like a player. Maybe they need to get him more involved in
Yeah.
the offense, and who knows, anything could happen. But
Yeah, I agree with that. I think also Kamara, he just came, he had that suspension early in the year.
yeah,
So might take he might still be working up his way. I know Carr loves to play the short passing game, so Kamara's like the atypical person for that. But there's also you're missing Jamal Williams. You signed him
right,
in the offseason to be your between the tackles bruiser back, and he's been hurt. So you haven't had that lightning and thunder combination that you were hoping for. So that's also another key component of your offense that you're missing.
true,
Um, I Their defense is pretty good. I mean, Marshawn Lattimore is a next level player, and I don't know. I think it's just a matter of time before they get clicking. And Carson, Car's in a new city, so you figure there's always going to be some sort of learning curve. He's a great leader. I think Dennis Allen as a head coach, I have never been sold on him.
Mm-mm.
So again, coaching, we talked about Mike McDaniels is a genius, and on the flip side of the matchup that the Saints had, D'Amico Ryans seems to be a pretty competent head coach. Coaching matters.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. This is one of the few sports I feel like where coaching really matters. Like it is a legit chess match on the field every freaking week. It's insane. Next up, we had the Commanders traveling to Atlanta and giving them all they could handle, winning 24-16. Howell had a tremendous game. I did see that.
Yeah.
Uh, what do we think of Howell now going forward after a performance like this? The Falcons defense is nothing to sneeze at.
No, I think Sam Howell. is his biggest thing is consistency. And I know he's put together a few good games in a row, but he's had a couple stinkers where we thought like, wow,
The game
what is
against the Bills was an abomination. I'm pretty sure he had negative passing yards.
yeah, I think he threw 3 picks in that game. You
Yeah.
just not taking care of the ball under duress, making poor decisions. But I mean, again, this really is like his rookie year. I mean, he played a little bit last year, but not only towards the tail end of the season.
Right.
Uh, the running game is really non-existent. Ryan Robinson didn't really get going. Antonio Gibson, they don't really give him run like they were. He's more catching passes in the backfield. But Scary Terry, he's always a big weapon. They didn't. I feel like they left a lot of meat on the bone. I mean, Sam Howell threw 3 touchdowns, but they weren't really hitting their stride, I would say. Um,
They're not
Falcons
I mean, he had a lot of passing yards. Didn't he have over 300 passing yards? I thought
only
that
150.
150?
Yep.
Oh, I must have been thinking of I was thinking of freaking, you know who I'm thinking of, Stroud
Yeah.
for the Texans is who I'm thinking of. Yeah, no, forgive me. 3 touchdowns is good. You're right. The offense isn't clicking. If it was only 150 yards, I saw Scary Terry had a decent game, but yeah, no, not going to be good enough to win on a week in, week out basis unless their defense comes to play like everybody thought they would. Their defense hasn't also, it hasn't looked great this year. They've had some pretty massive fucking L's.
Yeah, but I mean Chase Young, he's in his it's a free agent year for him. So he's been playing pretty tough football.
Yeah.
Uh, and I mean, let's pour one out for the undefeated at home streak
Ritter.
this for this podcast's favorite quarterback, Desmond Ritter.
Yeah.
My man, he threw for over 300 yards, and it's night and day with this offense coming starting the season. It was we're running, and for the past 2 weeks, it seems like they're throwing a little bit more, and all of a sudden, Kyle Pitts has a pulse now. Caught 2 touchdown passes back to back weeks. I'm dare I say, is he back? Is this a mirage? Is this like a fugazi? Do you think Kyle Pitts is going to be a
I
guy going
I
forward?
I don't think it's a fugazi. I don't know what happened, but over the last couple of weeks, it looks like Ritter is putting it together a little bit better and playing better from the pocket and actually hitting open receivers. Pitts, who's open, what, friggin' a quarter of the time at least from the tight
Yeah.
end spot and the slot. I mean, they line him everywhere. Yeah, I think that this is going to be a constant going forward. I think the offense needs to go through him and Bijan, and Ritter off a play action, see what he could do downfield. But
Even
yeah,
Drake London's a big body. He
yeah,
caught 9 passes, 125 yards. It's a hell of a game for an Atlanta wide receiver.
I got to give Arthur Smith some credit. I mean, it's not easy for that guy. He's had to deal with, a lot of problems at the quarterback position and, trying to get this running game going while being inept at quarterback. Well, now it seems like he's kind of letting the quarterback go a little bit. He's being a little
That
bit more loose with the play calling.
that I think is the key, where you're not trying to control everything so much where you're micromanaging your quarterback. Maybe you let loose a little bit and let him sling the ball a little bit more. I mean, he threw the ball 47 times. Again, back to the Derek Carr thing. You never want to see your quarterback throwing 50 times a game,
No,
but let your quarterback throw. I mean, we've seen games where Ritter hasn't thrown the ball more than 20 times a game. So there's got to be a balance somewhere. And I
20,
think
20 to 25 attempts a game, maybe 30 at most. I mean, if
that's
you,
that's the sweet spot in this league. And I think the way they're using Bijan is perfect. I would like to see a little bit more in between the tackles, handing the ball off. I like that they're doing the change of pace with Algier because, I mean, as we saw last year, he was 1,000-yard back as a rookie.
yeah, I kind of get what they're doing with Bijan. I think it's smart. I think, you invested so much in this guy. You believe in him as a receiver. I mean, you could line him up almost anywhere as a receiver.
Anywhere on the field. And I'm 1,000%. He's your going into the draft. This is the guy we want. He's going to be our superstar. And right out the gate, you can clearly see that he can go.
Yeah.
I think creating mismatches like that is an absolute must. And I'm all for moving him around all over the field and utilizing him. But
The monster game is coming soon. I think at some point this year he is going to totally blow up. And
I'm waiting for it. I like 200 yards
yeah.
minimum. Just eruption game.
I think it's going to happen. They're clicking a little bit more offensively. I know this was a tough one for them, but all right. Next up, we had the Colts traveling to lovely Jacksonville in their broken down stadium, losing to the Jaguars in what was, I don't know, kind of never a close game at any point, 37-20.
I mean, I just will start with what a rough loss for the Colts, even going into the game.
Richardson.
Your franchise quarterback that you drafted this year going to be out for the year, season-ending shoulder surgery. Who knows what that's going to look like next year? I
Yeah.
mean, this is the same thing that completely altered Cam Newton's career was a bum shoulder.
Yep.
So I mean, Ray was all over this one. And right now he would be doing his little ginger dance that
I called it on this podcast 4 weeks ago.
I called it 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, I called this. Well, he did, and
You did.
the bloom may be off the rose already. The Colts could be looking for another quarterback. Crazy to think.
I don't know if I'm Colts management, if I think I have any shot of sticking around for next year, which I don't know at this point with Chris Ballard, and I just have no idea. But you got to be a little excited to be able to you're going to get that guy back. I think he's going to be healthy. I think he's going to be fine. I think he's young enough. Um, I don't think it was I don't think it was entirely detrimental to his career yet, but we'll see. I guess only time will tell. But I think they've got to be excited to put some pieces around him next year and see what can happen.
They didn't even kick the dust off the tires. I mean, they didn't even get Taylor on the field with him, did they?
No.
For like no,
No.
that was going into the season. That combination was talked about, and you didn't know if you were going to get that because of the contract dispute with Jonathan Taylor. But
Right.
he signed 3 years, so that's something to look forward to. And Michael Pittman, he's a really good wide receiver. Like I watched this game just to. He's on my one fantasy team, so I was like, let me check in. And he's a really good wide receiver. Runs great routes, big body, catches the ball. I think Yeah, it's just
Oh,
like,
Pete, hold on one second. We have somebody looking to join the show.
oh
So
boy.
we're gonna bring in our special guest,
Oh, there we go.
Raymond Tremor. There he
Hey,
is. We are
everyone,
live.
We're in,
everyone,
boys.
your hero. Welcome in.
Wel
So,
welcome in, Ray.
so Ray, this is the perfect spot for you to come in because we just got to the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Indianapolis Colts, and we started off with doing the ginger dance. How I was right. I was right. I'll tell you right now. So Anthony Richardson being out for the year, season-ending shoulder surgery. Thoughts, opinions? What would you?
Yeah, I mean, you know what? I think it's the right decision for the kid. As much as I hated to see it, and I was right. Had to give it to you. Yeah, I listen. Shut him down, right? If that kid's got to look at his future, and I hope he takes the rest of the year. I hope he sits on the sidelines and watches. The candy corn's out.
Any
Uh,
corns out this?
I hope he watches tape for the rest of the year. I hope he sits on the sideline and watches the game and adjusts to the speed of the NFL. But protect yourself, bro. Like, this is your future. This is your career. If you want to last longer than Cam Newton, and I hope my bold take is wrong, you got to protect yourself because year one, week 5, week 6, and you're out for the year. That's not a good sign.
Yeah,
Yeah,
one concussion and what is it, a rotator cuff?
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
I mean it's crazy the durability of some of these quarterbacks. When you look at the Eli's and the Tom Brady's, who were like never hurt. Brady missed what 1 year and maybe a couple games.
Yep,
Eli was like a fucking Iron Man, dude. That dude just never got hurt.
he
He
played
must
every
have
game.
Gumby. But yeah, I mean these guys got to learn to protect themselves. It's crazy.
yeah. I think in the off season there is a very serious conversation that head coach GM have with Richardson about protect yourself and maybe altering your play style a little bit. I
Yeah.
know he he was making big chunk plays with his feet, but maybe we second guess that or bring him into a baseball class and teach him how to slide.
Boy
I
needs
think
to
all
learn how
these
to slide.
I think all
That's
these
a
fucking
real
quarterbacks
thing.
learn
You
that.
need to
I
know
agree. I
how to
agree.
slide
Every quarterback.
and protect yourself. So, I mean, I think that's a conversation to be had. Um, Minshew did not look good. I mean, he
No.
threw the ball a ton, but mustache mania is not a thing in Indianapolis.
I just don't
And
think he fits that system. I think he's got a couple playmakers on there, and you could tell, you could tell that that system this year was tooled around Anthony Richardson and Jonathan Taylor. Every scheme that Indianapolis runs is built on that strong option run based, just power fucking football. And I'm sorry, I'm supposed to be cursing less. Thank you, Mike. Um, it's not like Michael Pittman is a stud. He's
we were
this
just saying,
like
we were
yeah, like
just
last year was supposed to be his breakout year. This is it. Like Michael Pittman has arrived and shown what he's got. But I mean, Gardner, and if you're a defense, if I'm a DC in the NFL and I'm going against the Indianapolis Colts, take away Michael Pittman from Gardner Minshew and his options are limited. Simple.
I do want to point out though that I think Gardner Minshew has kind of been unsung. In my opinion, he's in between being a backup quarterback and a starting quarterback in the league.
Yeah.
I think this is also a good opportunity for Richardson to see how a vet NFL quarterback plays in the pocket.
sure.
And it'll I think it's only going to help him. I mean, I obviously missing games and not playing isn't going to help you, but I mean, I'm sure there's something he could learn from this dude.
It's
So,
not going to hurt you. I mean, sitting on the sideline watching the game in front of you, I think does a lot. I think it's a form of, training that you could sit there like I relate it to my job, right? Like I can look at fire videos all day long. I might not be there, but I could pick up what is happening right, what's not happening right, the speed of it, and what we can do better.
Right.
Yeah, I think Dan, to your point, that Minshew, I think in reality, he's back end starter, or top tier backup. I mean, I would love to have him in my quarterback room because he's been thrust into a lot of situations where he's been called upon off the bench to come in and win some games. I think, I mean, as bad as it is, Richardson not being on the field, but still watching an NFL caliber quarterback lead a team, that's a good thing. But then on the Jacksonville side, man, just Trevor Lawrence taking that knee injury. I don't think it's going to be anything detrimental. I think they said it was like a sprain or something like that, but I think he might be on track to play. They're playing it day to day. I think
They're playing Thursday too.
Short week.
Yeah, they need to be careful here because without him, what are they?
Nothing.
You know what I mean? Like, I get it. I come on this podcast a lot, and I say that he's been overrated as a prospect, but the reality of the situation is he's their only hope. He is their franchise quarterback. He might not be as good as everybody said he was going to be, but they're nothing without him. Their defense is week to week. One week I see a really good defense with a lot of speed, and then the next week I see a defense that looks like they don't know what the hell they're doing or looking at. So they're kind of Jekyll and Hyde for me. The running game is pretty good. I mean, and that really helps any quarterback. So
Yeah.
I just think they need to take it easy, man. If they feel like they could sit him 1 week and then get him back a little bit healthier, just do it. Just why risk it?
You're 4-2. There's no real urgency where it's risk him to get him back early. I mean, he is the glue to that entire team, and I think everybody knows that. They feed off of him on the field and what he brings. He's driving down the field. He's making plays with his feet. He's extending plays. So again, as much as they need him on the field, it doesn't kill them to bite the bullet for a week and then get him back healthy. We talked about it with Burrow earlier in the year. Probably should have sat him the first 4 weeks before making something that's an issue that you can nip in the bud linger on. So I think they should play it on the safe side with this one.
All right, moving on. We're going to try to go through these recaps a little quicker now. Seahawks went into Cincinnati and lost a really close game, kind of an ugly game, 17-13. Ray, you take this one, your boy, Mr. Burrow.
Yeah. I mean, this was a weird game. Burrow came out hot, threw a touchdown on the first drive. Second drive looked great. He looked back. He looked like he was, he looked like the Joe Burrow that we all know and love. And then everything kind of slowed down. I think that defense really kind of woke up. Again, I mean, credit to Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll is still a phenomenal coach. Like I think that, you look at the past few years and what the Seahawks should be and would be and could be. And I really think Pete Carroll, like, especially what we see out of Russell Wilson now, right? And you look back on it, the Seahawks are well coached. And I think that this game was a Pete Carroll coaching adjustment where they were able to interrupt Burrow and do what needs to be done to slow him down. Because after those first drives, those first 3 drives, it was like, this was an ugly game. The run couldn't get going. The O-line looked fucking miserably off. And just nothing was working. Seattle also confuses me because I've never been a Geno fan. I didn't think Geno Smith was the answer. The fact that he's getting paid what he's getting paid this year is mind-boggling to me. But he's just not doing what he's supposed to be doing, especially with the weapons that he has on that team. How are you not this high-powered offense that you're supposed to be?
The offensive
It
line,
was like-
man.
I wanted to touch on that because DK Metcalf, can we just touch on him briefly? Like,
How he's a punk.
Mutant. He's a mutant.
what is his like? He has all the attributes of what should be Megatron 2.0. And he under delivers more times than not.
Yep.
And then him beating the the fuck out of the cornerback. What are you thinking, dude? Like, when things don't go his way, he just starts swinging. And this has been a pattern a lot. And if I'm Pete Carroll, I feel like that's a conversation where, listen, dude, you're not as great as you think you are. And your attitude is a detriment to the team, and you're not helping.
Oh yeah, no, he's shown to be a punk. All that talent in the world. Yeah, he's a super diva punk. All that talent in the world, and like Pete said, he under delivers pretty much every week. Yeah, they're kind of an enigma. I think a lot of their problems stem from their offensive line. They've been really banged up. They haven't been able to protect Geno at all. Even when he does get clean pockets, it doesn't look like there's much open down the field. So it doesn't look great right now in Seattle. I do agree. Pete is a great coach. He's had this team pretty much prepared to play every game since he's been their coach. Yeah, I think this was just a case of the Bengals defense kind of ruining things for Seattle, even though they couldn't get going themselves.
Yeah, ugly game all around. And I feel like this week was like the ugly week of games where it was just like, ooh.
For sure. We had a lot of those.
Football on Sunday, man.
Including this next one where the Vikings pulled one out in a divisional game at Soldier Field, 19-13. Fields got hurt in this one. Pete, let's take this one.
All right.
Hold on.
Stop smiling down there. Down there, stop smiling. You are abhorrent. You are an abhorrent ginger with no soul right now.
The ginger has smiled.
So let's just start it off right now. I didn't do my pregame math as I normally should have because it was just so terrible. But another game for Justin Fields under 100 yards. He only put up 58 yards. So quick math, kids at home, that's only 1,201 yards for the season. So quick
and he's
math.
Going to miss the next game for sure. He's definitely missing the next game.
Yeah, sprained thumb. I don't. Yeah. Is that what they're calling it? A sprained thumb?
Yeah. They're thinking maybe he might be ready to go after this game, but right now, it looks like Ray's nipples are safe as of right now.
And 799 more yards to go.
It's gonna be tough.
It's gonna be tough sledding. What do we? We're at week 7 here.
Yeah.
Oh, we got.
And again, he's gonna miss this game, so you got to think this game, and then their bye week. Take those weeks off of the table.
Yeah, so keep talking, guys. I'll do some math real quick.
But I mean, Justin Jefferson not being there for the Vikings, obviously a huge deal. I mean, I will say this though, it looks like they do have a potential number one in Addison. So I'm really curious to see what happens this offseason. The Vikings did not run to go sign Jefferson to a long-term deal. So this offseason, I think, is going to be real interesting to see what happens there. Ray, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think you nailed it. I think it's I think it's going to be the tale of two stories here. I think in one hand, either Minnesota rips it all down and says, all right, we know what we can get for Justin Jefferson. You're getting ones. You're getting at least a one for Justin Jefferson, right? And probably a bag of riches along with it. With Kirk, depending on how hot the iron gets in the next few weeks, you could probably get something in return out of Kirk too. You throw Hawk in the mix. You could start a rebuild with a lot of capital with only unloading a few different pieces in Minnesota. Or you look at it the other way and say, Justin Jefferson, here's the bag of money. We have our number 2 in Addison, who's a stud. We'll go get a real running back and sign either Kirk to a couple more years, which I don't think is the answer, or go get one of these big name receivers. Or not receivers, I'm sorry, big name quarterbacks and go for it and go for it all. I don't think it goes any other way. I think that's the only 2 routes Minnesota has right now because you're living in mediocrity. You're literally just tumbling around mediocrity right now. So what can you do? Like I only see 2 roads for them, and that's it. Especially at the point you're at right now. Like, what are you 2? They're what? 2-4.
Are they 2-4 or are they 1-5? Did they win one other game?
They did. They won last week.
This one? Okay, yeah. So they are 2-4.
Yeah. So you're 2-4. Your season is kind of done. Like I'm not burying you yet. I'm not singing your funeral song yet, but
sounds like you're selling off the entire team right now.
I mean, just Justin Jefferson being on IR and he's going to miss at least the next 3 games. That's a pretty big deal. I know they won this one.
They were saying about 8, I thought.
I mean, it's a minimum of 4 games when you get put on IR.
Yeah.
So that's just what I'm going to say for now.
For the sake of, if they keep losing, what's the real motivation to bring him back early when you're sitting at 2-4 right now?
Well, the motivation for him, if I could interject real quick, would be it's his contract year.
He's getting paid. He doesn't need to play another snap to get paid.
You guys are.
It's like Jadeveon coming out, getting drafted. He knew he was getting the bag. He knew he was getting drafted high. I'm good right now. So it's not like a running back where if you sit out a year, you're never the same again. Wide receiver is a little bit different.
I'm just saying, try telling him that. He might think that he still wants to show, put up some real.
Name another receiver in the same stratosphere as
Justin. guys, I totally agree with you. I'm just talking about it from the standpoint of what I believe his mindset might be. I mean,
and I get the player mindset, but I also get the longevity of it too. Like he knows he is number 1. There's no one else. It's him. So if you know that, and you're looking at it like I can rest, get my body ready to go, and no matter what happens, whether I put purple back on or I go and sign another contract somewhere else, I'm getting paid. Yeah. That's a huge deal, and it's like, now you have that injury on your resume, right? Which, okay, you really haven't been hurt in college or here. You're not an injury risk, right? But you did get injured this year. If I'm a GM and I know that you took the time to recover your body, rehab, and you are 100% coming into my team next year, for me, again, I'm not a GM for a reason. I'm sitting here in a firehouse, not a NFL headquarters. It's to me, I want to be like, okay, you're ready to go. I think you can have a great year, and you're going to be the guy I think you are. Number 1 of 1.
Yeah, for the Vikings' sake, I know you were saying you sell off. That you got 2 options: either sell off some pieces or buckle down, and you want to sign Jefferson long term. That, again, Jefferson's contract depends on what they do at quarterback, because, again, it was already said that he was waiting to see what they did with Cousins, because when the Cousins domino falls, there's a good chance Jefferson winds up wherever Cousins goes, just because of the rapport that they've built together.
which is pretty crazy.
Wait, very crazy. But I mean, Kirk's he's throwing yards up this year. He's having an okay year. It's not like he's stinking up the joint. It hasn't been Kirk Cousins losing them games. Well, it's their defense. And
I mean, they do have a lot of turnovers. Kirk has a lot of turnovers, but I mean, he's the only shot they have.
Well, you get a lot of turnovers due to the fact that they had to put up points. So he's got to sling the ball, not necessarily when he wants to or where he would like to all the time, but he's trying to make plays. So I
just don't like that he takes off on Tuesdays. It bugs me.
Yeah. Yeah. Kirk, if you're listening to this podcast right now, Tuesdays, come into the office and we'll have you on here for an on-air Tuesday interview.
I mean, you can explain to us how important that Tuesday is to you, because in my mind, every other quarterback, especially starting quarterback in the NFL, is putting in work on Tuesdays. But that's just me. Next, we had one of the bigger shockers of the year so far, the Niners going into Cleveland. No, I don't think any one of us had this. I know I didn't even send picks in last week because of crazy week, but Browns pull it off in a shocker on a missed field goal, 19-17.
This was not on my bingo card.
No.
But
I'm tweeting Kirk Cousins right now to come on the show.
All right.
Let's go.
So this game came down to a couple things. Injuries on the San Fran side. They lose? They lost their left tackle, right?
Yeah, they lost what's his name?
Trent Williams.
Williams. Yep.
Boom. They lost Williams.
McCaffrey
to an oblique, and then you lose Debo to
a knee.
So,
and I was reading today that all three of those might be short-term injuries, but
they all might play. They all might play on Sunday.
Yeah.
That's good news, and I'll book it right now. If McCaffrey plays on Sunday, roll your $2.5 million over, roll that into an anytime TUD bet, and we'll be sitting at $5 million next week because it's still a lock. That guy just scores touchdowns. But shout out to Myles Garrett and that Cleveland Browns defense for just tightening up and getting it done, even without the butthole toucher. You got Temple's finest, PJ Walker, XFL's finest, coming in, throwing a couple interceptions, but keeping them in the game. So shout out to that. Cleveland Browns defense is underrated.
Yeah, that's good. No, it keeps them in games. They have guys who could cover receivers. They have guys who could rush the passer. They have really fast guys at linebacker who play sideline to sideline. It's a good looking defense, man. It really is.
They built this game around the run. Jerome Ford and Kareem Hunt. You're filling in for Nick Chubb, who is a top 5 running back that you don't have. So
Ford looked good. I thought Ford looked pretty good.
Yeah. I thought Kareem Hunt coming back off of his sofa a couple weeks ago, he's getting back into
Hunt looked better.
Yeah, he did. It might take him some time, right? I mean, we said it pretty much the whole year so far about preseason, guys not playing preseason and how long it takes. I mean, let's give this guy some time. Maybe he's still got that juice.
Huge upset. And also Cleveland should credit that guy with the box fan in that video when they were kicking that last second field goal. He held that fan up and he blew that baby wide right. So shout out to that guy too.
Not really a great start from Purdy in this one. I mean, he was due for a bad one, I guess. Ray, you got anything to add to that?
I mean, this is the first game that Brock Purdy started and finished and lost. Welcome to the L, and having an L in your column there, bud. Listen, it happens. That Cleveland defense is for real. It's got everything it needs. Cleveland's a tough place to play. They did play Cleveland, right? Yeah, they were in Cleveland. I had as soon as I said it, I was like, wait, did they? No, yeah.
The dog pound. They played in the dog pound.
Yeah, Cleveland's a tough place to play, man. It's historically there's been some dirty, nasty games there. I think he did enough. I think Brock Purdy it just had a bad day at the office. I think he comes back and rebounds on Sunday, and that team keeps churning.
I tend to agree with that. All right,
I would take that Brock Purdy that played last week over 15 other quarterbacks in this freaking league.
Agree.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Agree. Totally agree. All right, next up we had the Patriots traveling to Las Vegas and losing a close one, 21-17. We'll let our resident Raider fan give his opinion on this one first.
God, it disappoints me to be upset about a win because it's just not easy to watch. It's like watching paint dry, the grass grow. It's not enjoyable. But they get it done. Shockingly, shocker statistic, Josh McDaniels is 3-0 as a head coach against Bill Belichick.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so that's the only thing we could be proud about Josh McDaniels because he's still a shitty head coach. So I hope you hear that. Raiders struggle to find their identity on offense. Billy Boy schemed Devontae out of this game, but again, we talked about this before we went on air. If you're going to throw to Devontae Adams when he's not double covered, you're only going to get about 3-4 looks a game. You got to scheme ways to get him the ball. Put him in the slot, move him around, do anything. Devontae Adams is your star player. Get him the ball. Jacobs is starting to come alive. Slow but surely. This finally finding a rhythm in the run game. Jimmy Garoppolo left the game. Back injury. Went to the hospital. Ryan Hoyer came in, slung the ball a couple times downfield, looked serviceable. I don't think Jimmy G is playing this week. He's made out of glass. $65 million.
And the Raiders win with Brian Hoyer.
Yeah, I'm honestly, I'll take Hoyer. I'll take AOC. Let me see the rookie again. Anything. Get Devontae the ball. The defense is playing above standards right now. Max Crosby, arguably a defensive player of the year candidate, chasing quarterbacks all around the field, wreaking havoc on the run. Highest motor in the league, in my opinion. The dude is a savage. He got a really ill-timed roughing the passer call towards the end of the game, which looked like that could be a bad thing. And then he won the game with a sack for a safety. So all is forgiven. Max Crosby, if you'd love to come on here, we'd love to have you.
Ray's going to tweet him next.
I literally was just pulling Twitter up because God, I would love to have Mad Max on.
Mad Max on here. Let's make that happen.
That would be cool.
Patriot side, Bill Belichick, when he saw Mac Daddy get sacked in the end zone to end the game, just shook his head in disgust, dropped his iPad on the ground, and just walked off. I mean, if that doesn't sum up the Patriots season in a nutshell, I don't know what does, because that was the most Patriot thing I've seen this year was Devontae Parker dropping what would have been a massive gain touched his hands and just dropped it, would have put them in field goal range to win the game. And then on the very next play, they got sacked in the end zone to lose the game. So just awful all around. Raiders 3-3, second place in the AFC West, on par with what I predicted preseason. What I had them where I'd had them at. I think I had them at 4-2 right now, but I'll take 3-3. But we need to find an answer at quarterback. Garoppolo's not it. I miss Derek Carr. We miss you. I don't care what anybody else says. We miss you.
We're going to be tweeting him next.
Yeah, I'll tweet him. Come back.
Ray, what you got to add to this one?
I got nothing more. That's a diehard Raiders fan. I'd seal it with that.
Yeah, I agree. I don't have much to add to that, except for the fact that the Patriots looking so fucking abysmal just always makes me happy. So there is that. Next up, we had the For Real Lions traveling to Tampa and basically holding the Bucks to almost nothing offensively, 20-6. I mean, this Lions team is showing me a lot, man. They really are.
This was a comeback down to earth game for Baker Mayfield, and he said it immediately. We stink. We stunk coming out. We stunk in the second quarter, the third quarter, the fourth quarter, the walk back to the showers. We stunk.
It's the curse of the creamsicle, man. They had a stat right before that game started that said that the Buccaneers are like 0-17 in the last 17 games they've played wearing those creamsicle uniforms. They have not won a single one, and it continues.
Yeah.
Those are some cool looking uniforms, but burn them.
Burn them.
I like them, but the problem is that when they wore them full time, they were literally the dumpster fire of the NFL.
The worst team in the last 40 years of the league wearing fucking uniforms. On the Detroit side, though, you lost David Montgomery, who has up until this point been the bell cow of the league. And no, that's not a mistake on my part. He's been the bell cow of the league. David Montgomery, the same David Montgomery from the Chicago Bears, David Montgomery, that guy. But he's been
by that, do you mean he has the most carries so far for any running back, or what do you mean by that?
Overall in the league, I don't think any team has. I got to look up some stats, but I don't think there's been any team in the league that's had one running back run more than he has.
I think Pete's right. Yeah.
Even with a guy like Jahmyr Gibbs, who we all thought you have a first round pick early, you got it on a running back, and you're using him as sometimes a change of pace back. They were giving David Montgomery 30 carries a game for a couple games. So, I mean, rib injuries are not easy to recover by. They linger for a while. It's cartilage injuries. So we'll see how quickly he can come back from that. Maybe this will give Jahmyr Gibbs some run and something to look forward to for him. But I mean, I got to give Goff his flowers because I snubbed him in the beginning of the year. He's having an MVP caliber season.
Yeah, and how about Mr. Laporta? I mean, the reason why they probably haven't been, giving Gibbs so many touches is because they're trying to scheme a way to get this guy Laporta the ball because he is legit. And
11 targets.
Yeah,
again.
he is totally in the mold. I think everything that Dan Campbell wants. I think he's building this thing his way. He doesn't care what anybody thinks about running back getting picked in the first round. I think he's just gonna coach this thing up the way he wants to. And right now it's looking pretty damn good. We got anything else to touch on from this game?
Aiden Hutchinson is a monster.
Certified monster. Yep.
Proven.
Every week making plays somewhere to affect something. So
Yeah, I like seeing it. I like seeing Detroit have a gritty, hardworking, blue collar team, and I hope they're fun to watch, man. They're fun to watch. Even with pieces missing, they do the job. It's cool. I like it. League's better when Detroit's good.
next up we had the Cardinals going into the SoFi Stadium to take on the Rams, getting blown out essentially 26-9. This was a divisional game. Cardinals have been playing teams kind of tough. Maybe a shocker to some. I don't know. Pete, what do you think?
Not shocked at all. The only thing I'm shocked at, and I say this with kindness for those that have this condition, but this alopecia fuck couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. And of course, before this game, I sent out a video of this guy doing trick shots on the field, throwing it into garbage cans 40 yards away, no problem. Dinking it off the crossbar, no problem. Bink! Yeah, well, bink, bank, bonk. He was terrible in this game. And I think the Arizona Cardinals do watch this. So they did get his jersey into the team store. Remove his jersey from the team store. It's time to start thinking about Kyler Murray coming back this year. I heard some rumbles that he might be activated soon, so
Yeah, well,
it
he's
might not
probably
be wait and see until next year, because guess what? You're not getting Caleb Williams now.
no.
So
And let's touch on Caleb Williams and Kyler Murray for a second. First, Kyler Murray. Ray, do you think he's coming back this year?
Yeah, I think he's going to come back. I think he's got something to prove. And I think he comes back because he has to prove that he's still a serviceable quarterback, wherever he ends up, whether it's Arizona or not. Now that they're not, now they're not in the Caleb Williams race either. I think it's like we got to figure it out. There's quarterbacks out there, but I don't know why they moved on from Kyler so quick like this. I don't know.
Well,
It's a strange dynamic. I really can't put my finger on it.
I think it has to do with who was their head coach that got fired.
Well, yeah, that's the thing is it was Kingsbury. So
Kingsbury.
So it's a new regime. They don't know whether or not they're not tied to him. Regardless of what happens with him, it's not going to affect them. I think that has something to do with it. I do think him personally, he better try to get his ass on the field this year to try to salvage anything out of his career, because right now it's not looking good. Right now, to me it looks like okay, maybe he'll play, but I mean he hasn't played all year. What's it going to look like? How much is it going to hurt him if he comes back too soon and plays like ass? I mean, he didn't play good at all last year. Another thing I want to point out is we've been talking about the Caleb Williams sweepstakes. Well, SC got their asses kicked by Notre Dame.
They sure did. He had the worst game of his career.
And Caleb Williams looked like dog shit. So is Caleb Williams still, in your guys' mind, the number one quarterback prospect coming out next year based on what we just witnessed?
Yes.
Yeah.
By like miles and miles and miles. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
We haven't lost any traction there. We still think
no. Listen. Everybody has bad games, right? Everybody has bad games. They've been riding high. They've been playing really, really well, and Notre Dame is a good team. They're always a good team, right? And it's Notre Dame USC. That game is legendary. It happens every year. It's one of the highlight games of the year. It's like the Red River rivalry. It's one of those games, right? And I don't think it doesn't matter, right? Like when Auburn faces Alabama in the Iron Bowl, and it's Auburn isn't even ranked and Alabama's number one. There's some times where Auburn comes out and punches him in the face.
True.
Always a competitive game.
Always. And that's
Very
exactly
true.
what this game was. Notre Dame has been playing not for the season. They've been playing for this game. And they came out. they got because Notre Dame got the floor wipe with them the week prior, so they were pissed off. They were coming into this game with something to prove. They punched USC in the mouth and they fucking took them home, and that's all this game was. Caleb was having a bad day, and even with a bad day, right? He threw 3 picks in the first half. He's never had a game where he threw 3 interceptions ever, and he threw 3 in the first half. He still was good. He was still a good quarterback out there doing what he needed to do. And I like to see that too, because I don't want a quarterback that's going to have his career of just cruising through. And I think that's kind of what Trevor Lawrence's problem might be now. He never faced it. Trevor Lawrence rarely faced adversity, right? He never lost a lot. I like a quarterback that faces adversity, because now my true test is when you're going to ask me this question next week, or I think USC might be on a bye this week. Or so the next time we see him play, I want to see how he comes back from this. I want to see how he rebounds. I want to see the corrections that he makes, and I want to see his confidence be the same and continue to play well. If that changes.
And that was going to be my follow-up question. I'm happy you went there. Is if he has a bad game next time they play, what will your thoughts be, Pete?
Well, I mean, you got to see. Proof is always in the pudding, so we'll see what he comes back with. I mean, if he stinks out the joint again, then maybe you got to second guess it. If this kid gets popped in the mouth, he doesn't respond well. That's a red flag, right? So, I mean, we won't know until we see it. I still think he's far and away the number one guy coming out. I mean, who else? Drake May. Drake May is a really good quarterback, but he's not Caleb Williams. So
They're not even on the same
planet. But I mean, to jump back to the Cardinals and Kyler Murray, I don't think there's any Call of Duties coming out. So I think he's got plenty of time to study a playbook and try to get back on the field, because like Ray said, God, I just read his name on the thing. This fucking guy. I think Kyler's playing for his future, right? So
yeah, very much so.
Yeah, but I mean, the outcome of this game did not shock me. The Rams are a pretty good team under the radar. That run game, Kyron Williams is a diamond in the rough. I'm pretty sure he got banged up at the end of this game. Cooper Kupp is a dog. Cooper Kupp is just healthy on the field. There's hands of gold, platinum, mind you, with the sticky stuff all over, because he's catching everything. Puka Nacua, it was a wonderful story, but move on over. Cooper Kupp is the guy, the receiver. Can't say enough good things about Cooper Kupp and his routes, his hands, everything.
And Stafford looked pretty good, huh?
That trio of receivers for him is like, that's a low key, really, really good under the radar receiving core.
They don't get talked about. They do not get talked about.
Not a lot of talk at all. And I mean, Kupp, Akua, Atwell.
He's having a big year, Atwell.
That's having such a good year that they got rid of Van Jefferson. Yeah. So that's confidence in itself. I mean, I love to see what they do and how they can build on it. I'm not shocked. I liked it.
All right. So next up, we had another shocker. The Eagles came into the Meadowlands. I believe Ray was at this game, weren't you, Ray?
Was.
The Jets ended up winning this game 20-14, pulling it out at the end, coming back from 10 points down. You guys want me to take this one?
Take it, Dano. This
All
is
right. Yeah, and then I'll add my personal point of view from it.
So Saleh and Ulbrich need to be given a ton of credit, because the Jets went into this game missing their top 3 cornerbacks, and they, outside of a few plays to AJ Brown, essentially shut them down. They had no answers. It was a big zero in the running game for them, which is unlike the Eagles. We usually see the Eagles running all over teams. So I got to give credit to Saleh, man. He's got this team at 3-3 on the bye. I know I already freaking wrote the season off a few weeks ago. We'll see what happens. My problem with my team is they don't score touchdowns. I really want to like Zach Wilson. I really want to have all of this kind of fucking, excuse my language, BS belief that he is somehow going to start turning into Aaron Rodgers. No, it's just what you see is what you get. We don't score touchdowns. This is how we have to win football games. They're going to be ugly. They're going to be gritty like this. If we can't keep it, if we can't keep it within 2 scores by the second half, and even then it's going to be tough because this guy, he's not proven to be able to come from behind against teams, right? Our defense did all the dirty work. I think it was what was it? 3 interceptions, 1 fumble recovery, 2 sacks, 14 pressures, 0 touchdowns allowed in the second half. It's all defense and special teams. And another thing, I haven't given this special teams unit the credit they deserve. They've been good all year long. Morstead is an incredible punter. Oh, it feels amazing to have a guy who could punt. I haven't seen what that's looked like in a long time. And Zerline is a good kicker. So we actually had decent special teams. We were missing our top gunner and Hardy. He was out. He's on IR. And they called up this guy, Irv Charles, off the practice squad, and he's making plays out there left and right. So got to give credit to the coaching staff, but not inspired at all by what I'm seeing offensively outside of Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson.
Yeah, I mean,
you were at the game.
Perfect breakdown.
Yeah.
So being at the game, a few things I can notice is that again, the Eagles, they played down to competition. They didn't look ready to go. They were lazy in warmups. The Jets were fucking firing in warmups, dude. I mean, there's something about Aaron Rodgers' presence in that building too. I believe they're 3-0 when Aaron Rodgers is in the stadium with them.
They are.
Interesting.
They are.
The Eagles looked lazy, man. They were just kind of like they looked like they looked like they just didn't want to be there, right? And then the whole game showed Jalen made a lot of mistakes that Jalen usually doesn't make. People are saying they exposed them. Like, shut up, right? Jalen Hurts is a great quarterback. The kid goes through adversity all the time, and he has, people have bad games. This was not his best.
I don't think it's so much as Jalen Hurts got exposed as to look at what the Jets have done to almost every quarterback so far this year. They've literally made them look like lesser players.
And that's exactly what I was going to say too. Like, the Jets defense is for real. You guys were missing Sauce. You guys were missing that other kid on the other side.
DJ Reed and Eccles. Yeah,
and there was pieces missing. And people step up. I like you just said, the coaching staff deserves some credit because they train their people to step up and do the job when the guy in front of you isn't ready to go. And it was clear. The atmosphere was awesome. I was with a bunch of diehard Eagles fans and a bunch of diehard Jets fans. There's a lot of green, and I was just trying to fit in. So I was just blending in the middle, wearing my salute to service jersey and just kind of just mingling around.
Ray, I got to ask you because it sounded – that last interception that Hurts threw, that building sounded loud.
Electric. And it was crazy because there was a lot of Eagles fans, dude. It was like it was more Eagles fans there than when you go to Giants Eagles at MetLife. And it looked like Philadelphia showed up because Jets fans didn't want to be there. And if I hear, and that's a Jets first down again, I had nightmares about it that night. The building was electric. It was awesome.
Don't you dare disrespect.
First of all,
corny Giants shit that y'all do in that building.
They played the Giants victory song at the end of the game, and I was very upset about it. Back in the New York groove is a Giants thing. It is not a Jets thing. They're fraudulent.
It's Jet Life. It's Jet Life Stadium, right?
Yeah, someone needs to be fired in that stadium. But it was also funny because in the fourth quarter, the building was electric. All the Jets fans were still there. And one of my coworkers that I was there with, he literally turned to me and goes, "This is the first game I've been at in 5 years where in the fourth quarter, this place is still packed. This is great." And it was cool, man. It was awesome to see it was awesome. It felt like the last time I felt that kind of excitement being in MetLife was when the Giants played the Falcons in the playoffs. And it was fun to be at MetLife and have exciting football. It's probably the last time I'm going to see it for a long time. So it was good to see.
Go to more Jet games. Maybe you'll see more.
Yeah.
Well, my 2 cents to this is Aaron Rodgers, man. What a Wolverine. This guy is slinging passes in the pregame, on the field, in his Hokas, just yeet, yeet, getting it in there, leaning in on that brand new Achilles that they shoved into him. There's a real chance that this guy plays football this year, which
mind blown. If it happens, mind blown.
This guy is 6 weeks removed from major Achilles surgery at the age of 39. The fact that we're having a conversation that he's gonna potentially play football for this team, a 3-3, a 500 team that, like you said when we were getting ready to go on the air, this is exactly where you kind of figured that they would be kind of with this schedule.
With Rodgers.
With Rodgers.
Yeah.
So without him, you're there. The defense is holding its end of the bargain. You get this team, and if Rodgers can actually step on the field and take snaps and play meaningful football for the Jets, would be I booked it in the beginning of the year that DeMar Hamlin was going to be my comeback player of the year because he died on the field and he's actually played a down of football. But the fact that Aaron Rodgers blows out his Achilles week 1 and then plays the same season.
If it happens, it'll be a great story.
If he comes back, amazing comeback story. If he comes back and gets the Jets to the playoffs, my God, the friggin' Empire State Building will just be lit up neon fucking green.
He'll have his face on.
It'll have his face on it, right?
Yeah, like, man, the one of one. He's of a dying breed.
I thought it was interesting that he gave all the basically the checkpoints on the McAfee show today that we will be looking for, right? Jogging, all that kind of stuff, being able to check those boxes, and we'll see what kind of time frame he does it in. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not gonna sit here and get all super excited about that yet because we still have to play football and we still have to figure out a way to win games. I would like to see what it looks like, but for it to be really meaningful, we need to win games, and we'll see what happens. We're going into our bye now. Next up, we had the Giants on Sunday Night Football. Really, really showing some grit, keeping it close against a team that might also be a little Jekyll and Hyde at this point. I should say at this point. I don't know. The Bills are a tough team to figure out, man. They'll roll teams weeks in a row, and then we just had back-to-back shit performances from them. They win the game 14-9. Ray, as our resident Giants fan, you take this one.
First of all, I want the two of you to move your mouses real quick and note the name tag.
Oh, I see it.
I noticed.
Yeah, all the entire world, especially on YouTube, is seeing this, so
good.
We'll see it.
Guess what? They lost.
Yeah, but Brian Dable is not the fucking problem. It's not the problem, right? Look at what happened. The defense was playing out of their minds. Buffalo, I don't even know how to comment on Buffalo because again, like Dano just said, king of inconsistencies. I don't know what is going on there. I don't know why they're playing such bad football. It just doesn't make sense. The Giants, Graham Gano cannot win you games. He can't. Can't. Tyrod looked like a serviceable quarterback. I will give him that. He looked like a manageable quarterback that could play football. But what the fuck are you thinking, audibling, with points on the board? But the entire world, from my car at a red light, watching Red Zone illegally on my phone, not Red Zone, watching it on my phone, I could see that they were going to stuff the run. So why is $1 million quarterback audibling to a run? I don't get it. I don't get it. And then the reason I put Brian Dable as the GOAT as my fucking name tag is because as soon as that happens, you pan over and he's losing his fucking mind because no one is listening.
But
So what
isn't
is that-
that a problem though, Ray?
Yeah, because he probably lost the team. And I don't know why. It's his second year as a coach. Like, I don't understand how a team is falling apart and no one is doing their job. No one. You have a guy who we signed off the couch, hilariously annotates it in his opening off the couch. And he was the best player on the field.
He was. Yeah. Yeah, he was. I give him credit. He actually, I didn't think that he was going to do that. He showed up and he played well. But let me ask you this, Ray. Okay.
The Giants
Dable
are a wasteland of space. There is not a single talent on that team to make a team out of. Honestly, like I want this to be like the replacements. The Giants should just go on strike the rest of the year. Let's bring in Keanu Reeves and let's just throw some shit out there and see what sticks. Because this team is terrible. This is the worst New York Giants football team to ever grace the uniform. And it's embarrassing.
I don't know. There have been some bad ones. I've seen some bad ones. This one's pretty bad. Let me just say this about Dable, okay, since that's the topic of conversation right now. He had this team more prepared to play. The defense held their end of the bargain from what I could tell by watching the game. But the truth is that up until this point, he hadn't had his team prepared to play. And I'm not just going to forget that. I mean, I think most Giants fans aren't forgetting that either.
But here's my problem, right? Is it truly him not preparing the guys to play? Or this team is just so bad that what are you playing?
Well, I don't know what happened last year, but it looked a whole lot different last year. I mean, I don't know.
Sometimes dude, even a blind squirrel finds a nut, and that had to be what happened last year, because it's the roster. There's nothing there. There's nothing there.
No, they're not talented.
Robinson, Isaiah Hodgins, like who?
Yeah, no, I get it. It's not a very talented team, and it shows pretty much every week so far this year.
Nothing. Saquon, goodbye. I don't need you. I don't care. I don't need you. It was a bad pick. I'll say it now. I'll finally admit it. It was a bad pick. It was a bad pick. I like and
number 2 overall is a little rich.
I'm not even going to go in on that scrub who didn't even play, but there's nothing there. There's nothing there.
Pete, your thoughts on Giants and Giants fans?
I'm gonna say I told you so, Ray, about the Saquon pick. I told you so. I told you so. They had other needs that they could have filled instead of going for the shiny Ferrari.
Yeah, I mean, I said that from the get-go. Saquon was obviously a special player coming out, but I don't know if running back should be picked top 5. It's tough.
No, but I think to Ray's point about Dable losing the team, I don't know if he's lost the team, but things are bubbling to a point because I sent out that text message when Tyrod audible to the run, and I said, well, they just lost the game right there, which they did. But the fact that Dable, that blister bubble head of his coming off of his neck, that anger and the fury that he was just unleashing on Tyrod running to the tunnel. This is the second time we've seen him lose his cool with his starting quarterback. He did it the other week with Danny Jones when he flung that iPad at him. Dude needs to get himself in check because that's a quick way to lose your team if you haven't already.
Yeah, he's showing up his quarterbacks.
You are a coach of a team of grown ass men, and they ain't gonna stand for that. So he's got to cool that if he wants to think about long term and longevity of coaching for this team and being the coach of the team. All around, just inept on all levels. I think this was more of the Bills playing down. Like, this was that Jekyll and Hyde feel to it. And the Bills got bailed out by that terrible call for the no call of the pass interference on Waller in the back of the end zone.
Yeah, they're not going to call it twice in a row at the end of the game. They get criticized for calling it once. So
yeah, but
it's tough. I mean, he should have caught that. Listen, they could have easily made that play. They should have made that play. It was there for them to be had. It was 1-on-1. It was exactly the way it was drawn up. He should have came down with it, and that should have been it.
He, honestly, looking back now, I was kind of unhappy about them shipping him off for a third-round pick, but the Raiders look like they made out on this.
Well, that's because I think you guys replaced him with who you believe is going to be your future tight end now with Mayer, who's looking pretty good now. But we'll see. Yeah, a lot of miserable New York Giants fans again, and I know it sucks. I'm sorry. I've been there, and I'm still kind of there, so I get it.
Me too.
Last but not least, Monday Night Football. We had a really good game, apparently, that I did not watch a lick of because I was in Daytona hanging out with friends, admittedly. Cowboys won 20-17. I saw that Herbert had a good game. I saw that Dak had a really good game.
So Herbert always has a good game, but he doesn't win the game. So Brandon Staley, worst head coach in the league. He looks like from 2 years ago when he became their head coach, he looks like he aged about 30 years in 2 years. He looks terrible.
Yeah, it doesn't look good.
For good reason, because they don't know how to finish games. And that offense can put up points in big clips, but they just don't get it done. Dak looked great yesterday.
Rushing touchdown.
Yeah, that light on his feet. He powered ahead, but he looked great because you know who he was feeding? CeeDee Lamb. And that was a big thing going into this game was get CeeDee the ball. And they made it a point, and CeeDee caught like 7-8 passes, went over 100, and moved the chains for that offense. Pollard was kind of stuck in the mud for the most part of the game, had one huge 60-yard little breakout, but couldn't really get going. I think Dallas defense is a really, really good defense.
Yeah.
And I think they will pick up the lack of that offense 9 times out of 10. But when you have Dak putting it together, and they low-key have, I mean, CeeDee Lamb, Brandon Cooks, Gallup, Pollard, Jake Ferg, like that's a good offense if Dak can drive the bus.
Oh yeah, I don't think any of us thought that the Cowboys were lacking in personnel. I want to spotlight the receiver on the losing team, who we don't talk much about anymore, but I saw he caught a touchdown, and that's Keenan Allen. This guy has quietly had one of the best careers that we've seen from a receiver. I mean, he's a Hall of Famer at this point, right? He's got to be. I think he has 56 career receiving touchdowns. He's been in the league for a long time now. Um, I think that guy's awesome. I know he had some injury plagued seasons, and I know it was two of them in a row at one point, but I mean,
Yeah.
I think a lot of credit needs to be given to that dude because he's still dominating in the NFL.
I mean, he's on the cusp of 10,000 yards receiving. He's at 9,800 right now. 56 tuds, you were right on the money. And he's at 838 receptions. So, I mean, that's some pretty damn good numbers for a couple injury plagued seasons that he had. So,
Yeah.
imagine a full healthy docket putting up career numbers. But I mean, he scored the first touchdown of the game. He paces that team on offense, and especially with Mike Williams out for the year, he's the guy again, old reliable, kind of like what Mike Evans does down in Tampa Bay. You lose sight of it because you're used to the production, but it's great production. That's number one receiver numbers. And I don't think there's a team in the league that wouldn't be like, come play on our team.
I agree. All right, let's get into week 7. 6 teams are on a bye this week: the Panthers, Texans, Titans, Jets, Cowboys, and Bengals. First game on first game on Thursday. So again, I'm gonna do my picks with the spread. Um, and we don't have Zacho's picks, so it's just us three tonight. Thursday, we got Jaguars going into New Orleans. I have the Saints at negative 1.5. Pete, what you got in this one?
I'll go Saints money line on this one at home. Probably no Trevor Lawrence on the Jag side. I think without Trevor Lawrence, like I said before, he's the glue of that team. Saints at home.
Yeah, I mean, as we stand right now, with Trevor Lawrence not playing, I gotta lean Saints. If we do get the go ahead that Trevor's gonna play, I might change to the Jags here. The Saints have just been really disappointing lately. They have some really good weapons that they're not utilizing. Raheed Shaheed, the kid's incredible, and when he gets used, they win. So
Ray,
I'm going to take Saints now.
Ray, I want to interject real quick. I shouted you out earlier before you came on and talked about your Shaheed spotlight and how we should be paying attention to him, and that kind of came to fruition last week.
Yeah, he had 20 points. It was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
They just need to utilize their weapons properly. It's crazy. But I'm going to take Saints, and if Trevor Lawrence plays, I might switch. Stay tuned next week to find out.
Yeah, even if Lawrence plays, I'm going to take the Saints here. I think that Trevor Lawrence on a hobbled knee or whatever it is that he has, a sprained knee, I think that's bad news. I like the Saints defense in this one. So give me the Saints negative 1.5 points. Then we go into, I believe this is the game in Germany. Falcons at Bucks, if I got that one right. Bucks are negative 2.5 point underdogs, or negative 2.5 points favored in this game.
This is at Tampa Bay.
Oh, this is in Tampa. Okay, so I got the order of the games wrong. I'm sorry. I know one of these games is in Germany. Pete brought that to my attention. At this point, I don't know which one it is. So all right. Ray, who you got in Falcons Bucks?
I'm going to take the Bucks in a bounce back game. I think Baker and that team plays inspired this week. Highlight Mike Evans coming back and having a monster game against that Falcons secondary. I think Evans and Godwin ball out. Give me the Bucks.
Pete?
I am gonna go the opposite side. I think talking about Arthur Smith opening up the playbook a little bit more for Desmond Ritter. I think we see a more expanded role for him just to be able to relax, sling the ball, and this could be the Bijan breakout. Maybe as soon as this week against the Bucks. I'm gonna go on a limb on this one. I'm gonna go with the Falcons.
Yeah, I agree with you, Pete. This is a divisional matchup. I think Arthur Smith has proven to be a pretty good coach at this point. I don't like Todd Bowles. The Bucks are favored in this game. Give me the Falcons getting the 2.5. Next up, we got your Raiders, Pete, going into Chicago as 3-point favorites on the road. Who you got in this one?
I'm going the Raiders without Justin Fields, who, after I figured out now his count is with missing this game, 279.9 yards per game for the titty twister Ray Tremor down there to get a little nipple of. But I'm going Raiders on this one. I don't know. I don't think Jimmy G is playing. Going to be either Hoyer or AOC, but the Bears are god awful without Fields. With them, either way, the Raiders are. If they lose this game, Josh McDaniels, there will be a hellstorm next week for you.
Ray?
Officially, there is no games in Germany until November 5th.
I was wrong.
So
Gotcha. Okay.
No Germany game this week. And I also have the Raiders in the shit bowl. Without Fields, the Bears are just caca doo doo. So, and they cannot do anything good. So, Raiders easily by a mile.
I think it's going to be Hoyer for the Raiders this week because of how well he played filling in. So I'm going to take the Raiders on the road, giving the 3 points to the Bears. Next, we have Browns traveling to Indianapolis. The Colts are 2.5-point underdogs in this game. Ray, who you got?
I have the Browns. I think that defense is going to give Gardner fits, and he's just going to have a miserable game, and is not going to play well. It's going to be a dirty game. It's inside. It's at Lucas Oil, but the Colts, all they have is the ability to run, and even if that, Jonathan Taylor, 3 games in now. Let's see what you got, but I got to give it to the Browns. I think that defense is going to stifle Gardner, stuff the run, and just have an easy day.
Pete?
Yeah, I think I agree with you, Ray, on this one. I think Myles Garrett's going to be working on his crossover before he comes swooping through the offensive line and just starts dunking on Gardner Minshew in this game. This could be like a 3-sack game for Myles Garrett.
Yeah, I agree with you both. I got the Browns going into Indianapolis as favorites as well, 2.5-point favorites. Next, we got the Washington Commanders going into MetLife Stadium to play the New York Giants, who are getting 2 points at home. Raymond, who you got?
So statistically, the Washington Commanders is the only team Daniel Jones has a successful rate playing against. If he plays, I don't know. I'm taking the Commanders because the Commanders are the better team. Giants, bring in Keanu Reeves. Give me Falco. Give me Shane Falco.
You want full replacements. You want kickers smoking cigarettes on the sideline.
I want Graham Gano on the sideline with his accent, smoking a bone, ripping one as he kicks a field goal to try to win the game from 18 points behind, because that's all we can get points on. The Giants have not scored an offensive touchdown in over 6 games.
It's embarrassing. I know. It's embarrassing. Pete, who you got this one?
Fade them. Fade them every week. Fade them. Commanders.
Well, I guess from the resident Giants fan, I'm fading them. But I wouldn't wouldn't call Keanu up. I would call the Sandman up. You need Adam Sandler, Paul Crew coming in
All
here.
crew, baby.
You need him as your quarterback if you're going to win some games. But I'm going Sam Howell. He's going to 3 tuds, 300 yards, make the Giants look silly.
All right, I'm probably going to be on the island on this one. I think there is a possibility that Daniel Jones comes back. He does play pretty well against the Commanders. Not sure what to make of the Commanders yet. They're kind of Jekyll and Hyde. I like what I saw from the Giants a little bit this past week against the Bills. I think that they could cover. I think that they could at least cover in a loss with 2 points. Maybe lose a 1 point game and still cover. So I'll take the Giants getting the 2.
All right, taking the points.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the points. Next up we got the Lions coming into Baltimore. Really interesting matchup. Ravens are 3-point favorites at home. Pete, who you got in this one?
This is a Dan Campbell special game here. It's one of those smash mouth gritty games, and I think he goes into Maryland and gets the dub.
Ray, who you got?
Yeah, I don't understand how the Ravens are favored because they are frauds. They haven't shown me anything yet about why they're a good team. They should not be 4-2. I'm taking Detroit. I think Detroit has everything. Even with David Montgomery out, like they're missing pieces. They're the better team. Detroit.
Yeah, listen, I do think this is a big test for Detroit physically. They don't play a lot of teams like this. This is a different style of football that they normally play. Might not be a great matchup. However, I am going to take them getting 3 points. They do score a lot of points, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah,
Next
especially with a 3-point spread. I mean, Justin Tucker can hit that ball from anywhere, man. So
oh yeah, he could hit it from 65, 70. Next up, we got the Bills going into Foxborough to play the Patriots, who are 8.5-point underdogs in this game. This is a divisional game in New England. They're 8.5-point excuse my language, underdogs. Pete, who you got?
Blowout of the week. Buffalo is gonna beat the brakes in the divisional game. This could be a 14-point game spread, in my opinion, and they'd still cover. Buffalo away.
Ray, do you like the points or are you taking Buffalo?
I don't. I don't like the points. I'm going to take the Patriots here in the upset of the week. Buffalo has been playing like trash, and they're just not it. I mean, if Bill Belichick has anything left in the tank, he's going to play. He's going to put it to Buffalo. Those division matchups, man, they hit different, and guys play different. Players play different. I'm taking the Patriots on this one in the upset of the week, and Buffalo finally people finally realize that Buffalo isn't what the team is supposed to be, and that the games they've won have been razor thin. And I think this is a razor thin. I think 8 points is a lot. Give me the Pats in the upset.
And I'm going to agree with you. I mean, I might be out of my mind because they've been so awful, but the Bills have played like crap the last 2 weeks. And like, I know that they're not going in to play a talented team, but I like the 8.5 points that the Patriots are getting. I think they could cover that in a close game. I mean, the Bills just beat the Giants by 5 points. So why can't the Patriots, at least keep it a game at home? So, and I don't know. Who knows? Bills will probably blow them out, but I'm going to take the points.
I agree, though. I agree.
Cardinals go into Seattle, and they get spotted 7.5 points in this game. Ray, who you got in this one?
Who's getting what?
The Cardinals are plus 7.5.
Yeah, I think that's a little crazy. Again, I think Seattle's a well-coached team, but I just don't think they're playing to the level they're supposed to be playing at. Seattle was supposed to have this great defense this year. They're nothing special. I would take the Cardinals, man. I think the Cardinals can do what they've been doing. Josh Dobbs, he had a couple good games. He's had a couple bad games. Um, he's not the guy, but yeah.
He's better than Aiden O'Connell.
Ooh,
All right.
that was personal. That was personal.
Offensive.
Make him apologize.
Am I wrong? He's better than Aiden O'Connell.
You are.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm taking alopecia.
Nice head of
Taking
hair.
alopecia in the cards.
Pete, who you got?
Disrespect. The
He left.
disrespect. No, I'm here.
Oh, you shuffled yourself to the bottom of the screen.
Yeah, the disrespect on that one, but I'm going with the Pete Carroll led Seahawks.
Straight up.
Straight up.
Gotcha. Okay. Next up, we have kind of an interesting matchup. The Steelers going across the country to SoFi, getting spotted 3 points against the Rams. Pete, who you got in this one?
For this one, I gotta go with. I'm gonna go with the Rams. I think offensively, Schittsburg hasn't done much, and I feel like Tomlin's gonna have to scheme the hell out of this game if they want to stay competitive. Could be a trap game, but I think at home, Cooper Kupp runs amok.
I also want to note I forgot to make my pick for the previous game. I'm taking the Cardinals getting the 7.5. So Ray, who you got in Steelers Rams?
Yeah, I'm gonna take the Rams on this one. I just think the Steelers don't again, well coached. They'll hang in there for a little bit, but that wide receiver trio is just gonna break free at some point. Cooper Kupp is too good to be contained, and they're gonna put up at least 2 touchdowns on the Steelers by the time they're done.
Yeah, I got the Rams giving the points at home. Next up, AFC West divisional matchup. Chargers going into Arrowhead, playing the Chiefs. Chiefs are 5.5-point favorites in this game. Pete, who you got?
This is a tough one actually because divisional game, Chiefs haven't really gotten the ball rolling like they should normally have. But then again, the Chargers, they don't close games. So I'm at home. I'm not going to bet against Patty Mahomes. Has the pedigree to win games and win them close. If I was doing points, I would probably take the points for the Chargers to cover, but straight up, I'm going Mahomes, Kelsey, and Arrowhead.
Chiefs for Pete. Who you got, Ray?
Yeah, I mean, I would love to say this is going to be a closer game for all the reasons that Pete just said too, but Brandon Staley is the worst coach in the NFL, and it's not even a close race. I cannot bet against the Chiefs. It's the Chiefs, especially against Brandon Staley. It's the Chiefs.
Chiefs will probably win the game, but I'm actually going to take the 5.5 points that the Chargers are getting because they do put up points. Next up, we got the Packers going into Denver. They are 1.5-point favorites on the road. Ray, who you got?
What was the points again?
The Packers are giving 1.5 to the Broncos. Broncos are home.
I'm going to take the Broncos here. I think it's a get-right game. I don't even want to call it a get-right game. I just think that I think that the atmosphere in Denver is a tough place to play. I don't think the Packers are a good team. I think Jordan Love, coming off the bye, is going to be confused and not ready to play football. Give the Broncos.
Pete?
I'm going to take the Packers for that exact reason. They're coming off the bye. A chance to get right because Love looked good start the year and then kind of fell apart his last 2 starts. But this Broncos team, disarray all around. They're not pulling this off. I think Packers.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Packers. I don't think the Broncos are any good. I don't think the Packers are very good. I don't think they're kind of an average team, but I think they're a lot better than the Broncos. So I'm going to take them given the point and a half. Sunday night football. This is a good one. Dolphins in Philly. Eagles are 2-point favorites. Pete, who you got in this one?
This is my matchup of the week. And based on the point spread that you just gave, that would make the Dolphins underdogs away. So this will be my upset of the week as well. I think the Mike McDaniels run Miami Dolphins electrify the city of brotherly love, and it's going to be a really good game. I want to see some big points put up, but I want to see Cheetah running down the field sideline, throwing up
Throwing up the
deuces all around,
deuces.
deuces all around. Miami away.
Ray, who you got in this one?
Yeah, I actually have both of my matchup of the week, and yeah, it's to me this is different. This is Philly's make or break. This is Philly's season right here, right now. Um, After you lose to the Jets in the fashion you did, and it's not a disservice to the Jets, it's to say it's more of a disservice to the Philly. If you don't come back and you don't play smash mouth football with Miami and you lose to Miami embarrassingly, your season's over. I'll call it right now. Eagles fans, I'm sorry, your season's over if you lose to Miami. You can't lose a game to the Jets and then come out and get blown out by Miami back to back and expect good results. Hate me all you want for saying it, but that your season's over right then and there if you lose this game embarrassingly. If the Eagles are true contenders and can play in the championship and maybe make it to the Super Bowl, you need to come punch Miami in the mouth, shut them down, shut their offense down, and blow them out. So for our friend and my potty mouth be gone, I'm picking the Eagles in a blowout.
You're taking the Eagles in a blowout. Okay. Okay.
It's a bold prediction.
Damn. Yeah, that's very bold. That's very bold. Listen, this is also my matchup of the week. I mean, how could it not be? I think everybody's going to be watching this game. Just because the Eagles are home, I think it's going to be a tough. I think it's going to be kind of tough for the Dolphins. This is a more physical style game. This isn't going to be the track meet that I think that Dolphins fans are thinking it might be. I think the Eagles slow the Dolphins down a little bit, especially if they get Jalen Carter back. That dude is a huge problem. He did not play against the Jets. That is worth noting. Also worth noting that the Eagles are 5-1, and Ray said that if they lose this week, their season's over. I'm going to take the Eagles, given the 2 points. Next or last, I should say, Monday Night Football. The 49ers with their tails between their legs coming into Minnesota as 7-point favorites. Pete, who you got in this one?
You said it in the title. Monday Night Football. That means we're prime time, baby. Sorry, Kirk. You unless he showed up today for practice, which I don't think he did. It's gonna be the 49ers, especially if Debo and CMC are playing. Even without, 49ers are winning.
Right.
You cannot bet on Kirk Cousins in primetime football. You can't. Can't do it. 49ers. Sorry.
Yeah, so has less to do with the primetime thing for me with Kirk is or him taking off on Tuesdays, that I think that the Niners are going to come into this game looking to remind everybody who they are against a team that is literally hopping on one leg right now. This is my blowout of the week. I think the 49ers are going to crush them on national television. Kittle, McCaffrey, if he plays, Ayuk, all score touchdowns in this game. Maybe even that the running back they got to spell McCaffrey when he came out with the injury. I don't remember his name, but he looked pretty good. Dude looked like he's exploding. So I don't think the 49ers are going to be missing much in this matchup, particularly if a few of those guys don't play. So
Jordan Mason was the running back.
Mason, that's right. Yeah.
The 49ers.
Kyle Shanahan loves Elijah Mitchell.
This is the comeback game. Allow me to reintroduce myself. Oh, they are gonna put the stamp on why they are championship material, and don't sleep on the 49ers.
Ray, who you got?
Yeah, it's not even a question. 49ers.
Yeah. Yep. So I'm obviously, if I'm taking this as the blowout of the week, then I don't care that the Vikings are getting 7 points. I'm still picking the Niners. Pete, who is your fantasy player and sleeper fantasy player of the week?
Fantasy player of the week is going to be in Chicago. It's going to be Josh Jacobs. This is the get right game for him. Triple digits, multiple tuds. Let's book it on that one. And then my sleeper pick of the week. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Sleeper pick of the week. Let's
Ray,
get go.
Ray, who's your fantasy player of the week?
DeAndre Swift.
Okay. DeAndre Swift. So I'm actually going to go with Bijan Robinson. Part of the reason why I picked the Falcons this week. I think he's going to blow up against this Bucks team. Ray, you got a sleeper?
I do. In the opposite fashion, my sleeper of the week is Mr. Chris Godwin.
Okay. I guess he can be considered a sleeper at this point with what's going on this year. Pete, you got your sleeper yet?
Sleeper pick Jordan Love. Since Ray throwing some shade at him off the bye week, I think an opportunity against Denver is salivating.
I think my sleeper pick of the week. Let me think about this. You know what? I'm going to go Romeo Dobbs for the Packers. I'm going to go Dobbs. I think that's a good matchup for him. Let's go Packers with the sleeper pick. All right. You guys want to touch on anything else? I think we had a pretty good show.
Yeah, I think if you have any money in your savings account, go to the window and bet the Philadelphia Phillies to win the World Series right now.
Ooh.
They are up 10-0 against the Diamondbacks in Game 2 right now.
All right.
Pete?
If Christian McCaffrey plays this week, take all the money out of your savings, your 401k, mortgage the house, whatever you got to do real quick, and put that all in the anytime TUD for Christian McCaffrey, because I think since last week, 12 or 13, if you would have balled that up, we'd be at $2.5 million on a $1,000 originating bet. So that's as close of a lock as you can get. And I don't care if his oblique hurts. If he plays, scoring a TUD.
All right, guys. That'll do it for another episode of the Birds and Blues Sports Podcast. We will see y'all next week.
Hoorah!
Peace.